Hey everyone, welcome to the Tuesday night live stream Money with Me session. Today I wanted to talk about planning for holiday spending. And I wanted to talk about this because I just saw a statistic that said that Americans go into $1,054 of debt each Christmas. And kind of planning for holiday spending has been a struggle for me in the past. And still sometimes trying to figure out how to weigh the different aspects of presents has been kind of difficult, So whether it's like planning the same dollar amount of gifts for everyone, trying to make sure that people have like larger presents so that way that like looks good under the tree. The number of presents, I way overthink it. So in addition to, struggling with when I was broke and unemployed, wanting to cut back, but kind of feeling really guilty about it. So kind of from that angle, wanted to talk about holiday spending from there. So a little overview. We'll talk about how you can adjust your holiday gift giving traditions. So with your family, talk about kind of how purchase procrastination can play into your holiday planning. Deciding on limits for how much to spend for each type of person. So maybe having a threshold for your family members and another threshold for friends spending, and then another threshold for like neighbors and coworkers, that kind of thing. And then we might have a work session. If there are people on and want to do one, we could do a live work session at the end where you can have a little bit of time to actually go through and plan out your own holiday budget. It is good to start this in November because that gives you a little bit more time to save up money for the holidays. And I did want to say, I'm going to talk about Christmas and holiday spending in general, but really this applies to any kind of gift giving for any holidays. And it would even apply to like birthdays. So, having a budget for each person in my family, like this is how much I'll spend on birthday gifts. So it's really giving in general. So talking about the different kinds of gift alternatives. Now that my family is older, my little brothers are all grown up now, we have started to experiment with different kinds of gift giving. So this last year or the year before, we did draw for names. So instead of buying every single person in the family and expecting every person to buy a gift for everybody, we drew names and each bought one gift, and then that was the one gift for the person. It made it a lot easier for shopping. I think most of my family would agree that it made it a lot easier for shopping because you're only expected to find one gift. We did set a dollar amount limit on how much everyone would spend. That way, we all knew that we were getting about the same level of gift. And I think it went pretty well. One member of the family went ahead and bought gifts for everybody anyway. One member definitely broke the budget on the item they bought. So it didn't go perfectly smoothly, but it was a good experiment. And I think that it's something that we probably will do again in the future. Another thing you can do is kind of like a white elephant gift exchange, where everyone brings one thing and then if you're unfamiliar with, you should Google it. I've only done it a couple of times, so I'm a little bit unsure of how it works, all the details. But essentially, you go around and you can open a gift or swap a gift for someone else, and it's kind of a fun way to exchange gifts. I did adopt this as like a way to save money on stockings one year. So I came up with like a little game I just did one stocking when we were hosting Christmas here at my house. I did one stocking and it was full of gifts that were individually wrapped, and you would like roll the dice, and if you got a certain number, you could open a gift. If you got a certain number, everyone had to like move one gift to the left. So like rotating the gifts around. And it was a really fun way to kind of do it. We had a couple of gifts that were kind of like gag gifts. There was like a romance novel. And so it was kind of funny to see like who ended up with the romance novel. And um, so, and I'll say, I don't know that it really saved that much money on stockings because I went a little hog wild on it. So, so those were just some ideas on different kinds of gift giving that you can do compared to like traditionally just everyone buying everyone a gift. And now I did want to say that you're not a bad person for establishing and keeping a holiday budget. I know some people really don't like putting monetary limits on their generosity, their like family, because it kind of crosses that, it bumps up against that threshold, right? Where you want to be, you want to say things like, oh, family matters more than money. But it really is practical to set a budget for your family members. It's a responsible thing to do. And the way I looked at it when I had to get really serious about setting budgets on how much I was going to spend on gifts each year, it really was more of, I want to get my money in the right place so that down the road I can give more generously. And I definitely did that. There were a few years where it was like I had very little money that I could do gifts with. And sometimes I even did gifts that didn't cost anything. Like I made scarves a few times, and I did like this mason jar gift where I took like little strips of paper and wrote like nice messages or funny quotes, put them in the paper clip, filled up the mason jar. So that way it was like a advent calendar kind of. So like my dad could open one, read it each day kind of thing. So, kind of getting creative with gifts for the holiday is kind of a separate tip. But, going from doing like really affordable, cheap gifts to like more recently, like I paid to get my little brother scuba certified. That was pretty expensive. Taking my brothers to the Grand Canyon one year, so that was a big deal. So really, yeah, making sure that you acknowledge that if you're going to be frugal with gifts, that it's really just because, eventually you want to get to the place where you're financially secure enough where you can give even more and even bigger gifts than you could. And it's hard too, though. Like the very first year, I really struggled. I still did like $50 or $60 per person, which is more than I should have been giving at the time. And, it's so easy to justify it and say, oh, well, my little brothers are still young. Like one was, I think, still in elementary school. So, you want them to have a good holiday and come out to the tree and have there be lots of gifts underneath. And so, it's hard to put that restriction on it that, oh, okay, I'm going to do fewer gifts or I'm going to do less expensive gifts. It can be really emotional. So I just wanted to say, you're not a bad person for having a budget for the holiday. As long as you're, doing it for the right reasons, which is your own security and then eventually to be more generous in the future. I think that it's good too, if you're going to scale back your holiday gift giving and traditions, to set your expectations with your family. So even just mentioning to them that you are, going to do like a $30 per person budget would be one way that you could do it. Bringing up these alternative gift giving ideas and seeing if you can get your family on board for just doing like one present each and drawing names to see who gets who a gift, that kind of thing. And I definitely have gotten some pushback from my family too. Like I said just a minute ago, it didn't exactly go 100% according to plan. Not everybody, went by the rules, but if you're setting that expectation with them, then at least you can be relieved to know that, oh, okay, they're not going to be expecting a massive gift from me this year. They know that, I'm trying to save this emergency fund or pay off this debt. And I think a lot of the times your family will support your goals and be understanding. Now, if you, if you never really take it seriously and get it done, if you say it for 10 years in a row, oh, I'm going to do less gifts this year, then they're going to be like, yeah, well, are you? So, that was even more motivation for me then, scaling back Christmas and buying less expensive gifts. It made me take it even more seriously that, okay, I'm paying off this debt, I'm saving this emergency fund so that in the future we can, have better holidays. Let's see. So purchase procrastination fits in with this more frugal holiday plan quite well. So, I've mentioned on here before that essentially I just keep a sticky note in the front of my day planner. Anytime I want something, I add it on there, and I usually wait to the start of the next month and then prioritize those things, see if there's anything I want to buy now. What happens though, it's so funny. You sit down to do it and you're like, oh, 3/4 of this stuff I don't actually really want that badly. So, I kind of have a running list of what I would like. And I've noticed that when people ask me for holidays or for my birthday what I'd like, a lot of the times I'll pull that out and be like, oh, I wanted this thing. It's a little more expensive than I should be spending right now. But if you wanted to get it for me, that would be wonderful. And so then, instead of saying, oh, I don't know, whatever you want to get for me, instead of that, you're getting these things that you really want and have been waiting for and have been saving up for. And I love that aspect of this because, you can just kind of parse your list out and get the things that you've been wanting that you don't really feel like you should be buying right now. I would say make sure you don't give each person the whole list. Usually I would pick one less expensive thing and one more expensive thing to give to each person. So that way they had a choice of two things. And they're not buying you the same things. You don't get the same gift twice essentially from two different family members. So that's one caution there. There's one other thing I was going to say about that. I'm sure it'll come. Another good reason to wait to do purchase procrastination around the holidays is because then you don't want to buy the things that you've asked people for. So I find that helps too, while I'm shopping, if I see something that I have been wanting, I'll just say, oh, I don't want to buy that now. I, gave that as a recommendation to so-and-so. So I don't want to buy that now. So that just helps with overall impulse spending as well while I'm doing my own shopping for other people. I know some people get carried away buying gifts for themselves while they're out shopping. So I would say that one of the tips for controlling your holiday spending is being careful of those gifts for yourself. And I know it's tempting because you see something and you want it. But like I said, add it to your purchase procrastination list, give it to people as a gift idea. And then on the subject of purchase procrastination, I do this for members of my family and my friends as well. So I have a separate list, and I haven't kept it as a Post-it note. I've kept it as an Excel file of Christmas and birthday gift ideas for people. So throughout the year, I try to if I hear someone say something that they like, whether it's a show or kind of candy or something that's specialized, I'll make sure that I write it on that list as a reminder. Oh, I could get this person, this item for, their birthday or Christmas. And then, you kind of have a plan going into the holidays for what you might get them. You can work on the gifts before holiday craziness so you can kind of get some of it out of the way. And so I found that to be really helpful too. And I just have I have a running list of things that I could buy for people. And, a lot of the times they're kind of basic or little things that I might pepper in here and there. One that I did was my brother-in-law mentioned one time that he really likes that he liked those Blue Glass Balls energy drink, BAWLS, and I loved those when I was in high school. So I wrote that on the list, and then when Christmas came around, I found that you can still order them online. Like you can't buy them at the gas stations here anymore. They might have brought them back. Anyway, I ordered him a case of this energy drink that that he said that he liked, and so having that list helps for that as well. Because certainly when he had mentioned it, I could have gone out and bought him a case and just given it to him for, just the sake of, oh, here's a gift. But instead, keeping it on a list is kind of like procrastinating that purchase as well. And then using that for holidays or birthdays would be the tip there. I'm jumping all over the place on my notes. Let's see. And you can start the conversation too. I will often call up a family member and be like, oh, is there anything in particular that you'd like for this holiday? And kind of as like, oh, okay, hopefully they'll ask me if there's anything in particular I want, and then I can give them some ideas off of my purchase procrastination list. And, then kind of help build that bank of ideas for them as well, or actually get them, if they do have something that they've been wanting. A lot of people just say, oh, I don't know, whatever. And so that makes holiday shopping a little harder for everyone, right? Because then, you have to come up with the idea yourself. And so, yeah, I don't know that any of them have adopted my list idea, but I've found that it's very helpful. And then, you're getting things that you want and or need. Like a lot of the times I'd have like a new coat or like, oh, I need a sweatshirt. I'm down to one sweatshirt because I sweat the other ones out. So, then you're getting things that you want and need that are saving your own budget dollars. So purchase procrastination fits in so nicely with kind of overall holiday planning and spending. So deciding on a limit. I do recommend setting different budgets for different types of people. Like I've done a certain budget dollar, like $50 or $100 per person in my family. And it's really difficult because a lot of the times they'll kind of like edge up. Like I'll say, oh, okay, I'm going to do $40 for each person. But then maybe I see like a really great $60 gift that I know this one person would really like and really something they really want. And so then I'll be like, okay, well, maybe I'll get this other like $10 range gift for everyone else to kind of bump everyone up. And then it's like, and then it goes like that. Like, okay, well, I hadn't planned on spending $100 per person. I'm guilty of that. It's a hard thing to manage, but trying to stick with that budget per person and try to give up the perfectionist idea that everyone's gift have to be the exact same monetary value. Try to give up the idea that everyone's gift has to be like the exact same everything. I've noticed that there are some years where I'll find a gift that costs a little more for one person, and then kind of naturally in other years I find things that cost a little bit more for other people. So I'm trying to make it more about thoughtfulness than the monetary value. And the opposite has happened to me as well, where I'll think of a really awesome gift that doesn't cost very much. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do this project for this person. Example would be like a photo collage. So kind of like this, but like a collage of like our Grand Canyon trip that I was saying that I took my little brothers on. So one year I was like, oh, okay, I can do this little collage, get nice photos printed, get the board. It ended up being very affordable. And then I felt guilty that I hadn't spent more money on them. So then I went out and was like, oh, well, what gifts can I buy so that way I'm spending the monetary value that I had planned? So once again, trying to dissociate the monetary value from the thoughtfulness of the gift. I've found to be helpful in saving a little bit more money around the holidays because, if you do something really thoughtful for people and it's something that they're going to really like, something that they'll use, and that'll make them happy when they look at, like, that's a good gift. And so a lot of the times I would struggle with wanting to do the monetary gift and spending a bunch of time doing a handmade project of some kind. So my advice would be to try to avoid doing that. And I have gotten better about this. Every year I feel a little bit more comfortable having not everything be perfectly even and doing more thought-based gifts compared to monetary gifts. Let's see. And if you do find something that's like much more expensive that you think they would really like, what you can do, you can add that to their purchase procrastination list and then either budget for it in the month of their birth, for their birthday, or for the next Christmas. I'm a big believer in, if you need to sprint to get some debt paid off or to get your emergency fund saved up, just saying not yet when it comes to more expensive gifts. So definitely write it down, remember it for the future, and then incorporate it when you can. So I did want to mention here the 5 Love Languages is a book by Gary Chapman, is his name. And this book really resonated with me because I'm not the kind of person that feels like a lot of value from gift giving and receiving. I like getting gifts, don't get me wrong, but like I've noticed when like my brothers like help me with something or if my husband helps me with a project, that them like helping me with that feels really great because it relieves a lot of stress off of me. Like, oh, I don't have to do that thing now. I have some more free time that I can relax. And that feels like a really good gift to me. So if you're unfamiliar with the 5 love languages, oh gosh, I'm not going to remember them all, but there's acts of service, gift giving. So some people do really value getting a physical gift or present, quality time, words of affirmation, or physical affection. So like hugging or holding hands. I did it. I remembered all 5. So for me, the one that I appreciate the most is acts of service because I want to get a lot done. I'm very goal oriented. So if someone's helping me with something, it's like getting me closer to that goal. And that's really exciting to me and makes me feel happy. So, kind of thinking through or even asking, your friends and like your close friends and family members, like what makes them feel really loved? What kinds of gifts do they really like to receive? I remember my mom, when it was like her birthday, she would always say like, all I want for my birthday is a clean house. And that would be a good example of acts of service as well, right? Like if the house is clean, that means she doesn't have to do this task that she dreads. Words of affirmation, if they, really love like being told, that they're good looking or getting compliments on things that they've done. Like if that's like one of the things that's really important, like valuable to them, then maybe in addition to a little gift, you like write them a nice letter or do, like I mentioned, the gift that I gave my dad, like the mason jar full of like nice things about him, compliments, as well as like fun quotes and that kind of thing. If people really like quality time, if that's their love language, the thing that they appreciate the most, then you could give gifts that are like those little, we did this as a kid, like the little coupons, like, oh, for, 1 hour we'll go on a hike and like chat about whatever. So, just to kind of start that conversation of what kind of things actually bring you value. Because if you're buying really expensive gifts for somebody who just wants to spend quality time with you, then, you're not really, you could be saving money and making them happier and like feel more loved at the same time. So I just wanted to mention that not everybody has the same preferences when it comes to the kinds of gifts they receive. Now, if they are like, if physical or if gift giving is their love language, then yeah, it kind of comes down to, can you buy less expensive gifts? Can you buy several cheaper gifts so that way they have more to open? Like, does that satiate it, or is it truly just like the dollar value? I feel like that one's a little harder. But I also think that there are a lot of other people who like these other tendencies. So, maybe you can sprinkle some here and there to kind of optimize your budget and, spend less overall. Any questions on that? I kind of cruised through that. And then, yeah, I guess that's really all I had. One other like little tiny holiday hack that I did as like a kid. If you don't have like a ton of money to buy like gifts and you want to make someone feel really special, you can individually wrap things. So I always did this for my dad because, like, when you're a kid, like your parents don't really have a lot of gifts to open usually, right? So I would buy like a pack of socks, and I would open the pack of socks. It would be like a 6-pack, and I would separate them all and wrap every sock individually. So he had 12 gifts to open instead of one. And so, that's a little thing that you can do. But it was fun for me. Like, I would wrap them in different shapes to try to trick him into not thinking he knew they were all socks, but like fold some in half and wrap that. Roll some all the way up. So it was like a little log shape. Fold them the long way. So it was like long and skinny. Anyway, so I guess another one would be, and this one's kind of a jerk move, but wrapping the package inside of another package, inside of another package, and then like wrapping it with duct tape. So just like taking more time to open the gift, and kind of building the anticipation as people are unwrapping it. Those would be some of my other ones. Kind of just for general affordable gifts. Some things I've done, I certainly like getting crafty. I know not everyone does, but like I mentioned, there have been years where I've like crocheted scarves for everybody. Whew. I made hollow books one year. So like taking an old like thrift store book, gluing the outer pages together, and then cutting out the inner part. So that way there's like a hidden compartment inside the book. So that was a really cool one that cost very little money to make, and people really liked it. Well, I think they're super cool. I hope other people liked them. Family photo collages. I've done that quite a bit. And I noticed like my brothers didn't really have any family photos to hang. Like when they went to school, they like wouldn't have any in their apartments. Because I remember going over to their house and like the family photo collage was like the only thing on their wall other than like maybe a movie poster. So, I think that was a pretty good gift too. Custom clothes. I have started doing this more recently where like if I think of something funny, like I'll put it on a shirt and give them the shirt. I did this with like a pair of sweatpants for my father-in-law. And I have an idea to do it for my nephews this year. Like, basically shirts that say like, I love my aunt or whatever, which you can get, but, any like inside jokes that you have, you can get printed on a shirt for pretty affordable. But yeah. And then just kind of overall, when you're sitting down to plan your holiday spending, so let's say you're going to sit down and try and figure out what your budget's going to be for December, or if you're still working on your November budget, make sure you remember to budget for not only gifts, but all the other stuff that tends to make the holidays expensive. So if you have outings or parties, which I don't know how much people are going to be doing this year, but just wanted to mention that if you are planning on going, like if you always go to the Nutcracker presentation or show or whatever, making sure that you remember to budget for those types of items. Remember the actual meals, drinks, desserts, snacks, anything like that can be quite expensive. We always do for lunch, like on Thanksgiving and lunch on Christmas, we would do like chips and dips. So we would have like a big veggie spread, chips, crackers, and then like dips. And I'm the queen of the dips. I would make the dips. That's my thing. So like onion dip, veggie dip, cheese dips, bean dip. I made all the dips. Yeah, I love it. That's one of my favorite things to do, but can be quite expensive because if you're buying 6 tubs of sour cream, which I would, that adds up. Plus like pies, baking pies. I mean, I guess that some baking it depends on how you do it. There's ways to do it for less cost, right? It doesn't all have to be very expensive, but like canned cherries, for example, kind of a little bit more expensive than like an apple. Okay, I've never crunched the numbers, so I shouldn't say. I assume that a pumpkin pie is cheaper than a cherry pie, but I guess I haven't actually crunched those numbers. Remember to budget for baked goods. If you're going to be gifting anybody cookies, I do like peanut butter blossoms. So a peanut butter cookie with a Hershey kiss on top. So like buying the candy for the cookies can be more expensive. And then just butter can be expensive, all that kind of stuff. And I'm really looking forward to, if you guys don't follow The Long Run with Joel and Christy, you should follow them because Christy has said that she's doing 12, what does she call it? 12 treats of Christmas. So she's going to be doing baking and like sharing recipes on her channel. So make sure you guys follow them if you don't already. I enjoy baking. I don't know if you guys do as well. Mind Your Money, welcome. Baking homemade cookies and fudge brownies with my children. I love that. Do you do like cookies that you decorate, like sour cream cookies or gingerbread cookies? I'm assuming that's what you mean by with my children, like, because kids like, in my experience, kids like decorating like 3 cookies. And then at least my brothers, they were like done with it after a little bit. So I'd be like out there like slapping frosting on the rest of the cookies like really sloppily because they had given up. So, but yeah, no, that's great. Because that's a great like frugal tradition, right? Because it's way less expensive than like taking everybody to the movie theater or taking everyone out to dinner on Christmas Eve, like that kind of thing. So that's a great like affordable tradition. Kind of on that note too, I've tried to foster with my family like affordable traditions, like even in just the last few years, trying to cook together at the house instead of like going out in the days leading up to the holiday. Like if they would come on Thursday, we used to like go out to eat like Thursday and then like Friday night, and then like for the holiday we'd cook at home. So kind of like flipping that and like picking one time to go out together and then the rest of the time baking or cooking at home. Kind of just looking at your overall traditions and seeing what you can come up with that cost less money that's still fun, or just tweaking your existing traditions to make them a little less expensive. So like, if you always went to the movie theater together as a family, switching that to having a movie night at home with popcorn and candy and treats at home instead of going, kind of tweaking those traditions to be less expensive. I know some people have expensive like alcohol drinking traditions with their family. So once again, maybe that just means finding slightly cheaper recipes that you can make and enjoy together, like doing mulled wine instead of like getting cheap wine and doing mulled wine instead of like, I don't know, eggnog can be more expensive. So it's just little things like that, like finding little cheaper tweaks for your existing traditions, and then trying to add in new, fun, inexpensive ones. So like, I know some people love caroling. That doesn't cost any money to go around and sing. I don't know if there's going to be much caroling, but anyway, caroling. We would sometimes drive around and look at the lights that people have put up, their holiday decor. So that's a very affordable tradition. Crafting together is a good one. Like Mind Your Money mentioned, baking with everyone, that's a great one. I've heard people will like read Christmas stories out loud to each other. So that's a great frugal tradition as well. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, and then other affordable gifts. Oh, I mentioned, okay, I did the mason jar, custom clothes. I've done a few like cheap journals now for people. So like building a little journal with like the disc bound rings and then putting like pictures on certain pages. I've done that recently. What have you guys done for affordable gifts? Any affordable gift ideas? I've made people jewelry. I do some, like, I didn't make these earrings, but I have some like charms that I would make, like charmed or beaded like earrings for people, which, I mean, you can get carried away with supplies with crafting. Anyone who's a crafter will know that it's not always necessarily cheaper to craft it, but I've done like gift tins of food. So like spiced almonds so like there'll be like a Mexican hot cocoa spiced almond with cocoa and cayenne. And then like pecans that have been caramelized and do like little sections inside of a tin. Crocheting, I've done that. Yeah. Scrapbook type things. Yeah, so that's really all I wanted to share with you guys. Feel free to drop in the comments what kinds of affordable gifts that you like to give. If you have affordable holiday traditions that you could share, I'm sure that would be helpful to people. I think especially this year, people will be looking for new things to do because a lot of the things might not be available this year. So yeah, thank you guys for watching along. I'll let you go. Every Tuesday night at this time, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, do Money with Me. I'm not sure yet what I'll do next week. If you have a request for content, always let me know. I'm always open to doing requested topics for the live stream. So thank you so much, you guys. Bye.